Okay, I'll do it that way. I'll just do this. So we're on scene one. Check, 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 check. I guess I don't. All right, let's rock.
DUSTWORLD is a location, time, setting where light is neither day nor night, perpetually both dawn and dusk. It is the real world blanketed in dust and decay, literally consumed by the sands of time. Nothing lives here except the dead. It is the place in between life and beyond. Ghost is Cosmo after death, on a walking tour through his life. Ghost has an untended natural goatee and extremely long hair, loose and wild. He cannot be seen by living people, but he can sometimes affect physical objects. Animals can see him. Interior, third subway car, late winter, underground.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The subway doors are open. A few rubberneckers approach from across the train car, lying face up in a dark red puddle spreading across the aisle. Cosmo, over half a century old, 25 years of uncut gray peppered hair splayed around his head like a crown, struggles to stay conscious. His left side is soaked in blood. A bass guitar is strewn on the floor beside a toppled handcart strapped to a portable amplifier. Loose change and crumpled bills scatter across the linoleum, mingling with creeping crimson slip. Cosmo's head dips to one side, eyes bleary, focusing intently at an empty corner of the room. His daze clears into horrified recognition. Dawn is crushed beside him, her nose bloody.
Mister, just hold on. I'm sorry.
Eyes glazing over, complexion going gray, Cosmo looks up at Dawn. He smiles at the tear tracks along the side of his head, face to his ear.
Eve.
Somebody help. Please, somebody help.
Cosmo takes a hitching breath.
This is the place.
His pupils dilate as his body deflates into lifelessness. Interior, third subway car, DUSTWORLD. Hazy light swirls like a mist through the train car. The subway appears as though it has been abandoned for centuries, swept over by the sands of time. Ghost stands in the corner of the train, waist-length pepper gray hair wafting in a preternatural breeze, along with his own dead body. Sand collects in pockets around the corpse. Ghost stares, horrified, unable to look away. He unconsciously touches his fingers to a rip in the fabric of his shirt under the left arm. Stumbling backwards, his feet disturb a layer of ancient dust blanketing the floor. Ghost scrambles to the gangway, forcing open the rusted door. The train is completely embedded in sand that fills the track bed like water in a sewer. A gale gusts through the gap between the subway cars as if the train were going somewhere. Ghost steps to the door of the adjacent car. Light filters through the sediment encrusting the window. He rubs a clear spot on the glass. Squinting at the brightness, he peers inside. Interior, second subway car, late winter.
Hey, Josimar. Go back there, grab loud guy. You got a loud guy?
Got it.
You got it? All right.
Yep.
All right. We're on page.
In 2.
We're on page 2. Page 3. You're on page 3. He's on page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're on page 3. All right. Come on in.
Interior, second subway car, late winter, underground. Only minutes earlier, a normal New York City subway in motion. Passengers rock gently as the train rattles through the dark tunnel. Among the faces around the train compartment, a young kid sits beside his mother. Old lady reads her Bible. Homeless woman and her dog take up an entire bench at the rear end of the train car. She shakes her head angrily as she repositions a blanket over herself and dog, which yawns and gives a plaintive whine. The manual sliding door leading to the front gangway opens. Cosmo, an unruly hive of gray hair on his head twisted into a knot, bass guitar slung on his shoulder, maneuvers in from the first car with a portable amplifier and a small cash bucket attached to a rickety hand truck. He gracefully stumbles his way through the swaying compartment, setting the car beside Loud Guy, a brash New Yorker sitting in the middle of the car, talking loudly on his cell phone.
Oh, no. Bro, you got the wrong one.
Cosmo ignores him and adjusts the knobs on his amp. Kid studies Cosmo intently. Cosmo gives him a wink. Kid grins and winks back. Loud Guy glares at Cosmo. Kid watches in fascination.
Look at this asshole. Dude, I shit you not. There's a guy just walked on the train with a guitar and fucking amplifier set up right next to me. You believe this motherfucker?
Mother shoots Kid a mind-your-own-business look. His eyes drop to his lap.
Hey, dickhead. No one wants to hear your shit. Take it to another car.
Almost imperceptible at first, a smooth lick flows from Cosmo's fingers across the fretboard of his weathered instrument. Quiet but unmissable, gently gaining presence into a sublime apex of blue notes. Boy's eyes widen. Mother waits expectantly. Old lady glances up from her Bible. Homeless woman sits up. Dog curls into her lap, ears perked. Loud Guy glances around the suddenly quiet train and holds his tongue.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am no beggar. In fact, I'm here to give. You see, I'm an artist, and playing music is simply how I live. If my song moves you or soothes you, please feel free to let it show. This one is about love lost. It is called Come and Go.
As Cosmo plays, the train surreally transforms into an over-the-top arena concert with Paul on guitar, Dave on drums, and Kenny on keys. Dramatic stage lighting floods from below as Cosmo turns his face toward the heavens, holding his arm aloft on the last chord. The roar of the cheering stadium crescendos into the screech of subway tracks. The train is back to normal. His eyes are brimming with tears. Cosmo wipes his face nonchalantly and glances around. Loud Guy stares at his phone, barely lifting his eyes to flick one last dirty look in Cosmo's direction. Cosmo glances over to see Mother sheepishly turn her face from him as she puts away her wallet, her eyes wet with emotion. Kid is staring at him, mouth agape, clutching a buck. Cosmo rolls the hand truck over and raises his palm to Kid for a high five, who beams and gives an enthusiastic slap, putting the dollar in the bucket. Cosmo makes his way through the car, maneuvering the cart's wheels between legs and feet protruding along the aisle. At the far end of the compartment, the manual door beside homeless woman abruptly slides open by itself. The deafening clack of train tracks and a rush of frigid air burst from the suddenly exposed gangway. Homeless woman stares perplexed. The door then closes by itself. Dog whines, seeming to track an invisible presence in the aisle. A homeless woman shudders and huddles under the blanket. A hard lurch of the train. Cosmo loses grips on his base, sending the headstock swinging straight at old lady's head, only to somehow miss at the last instant, whiffing her hair. Amazed to be unscathed, she touches her forehead just to make sure.
Whoops.
Old lady's fingers tighten around her Bible as Cosmo, cringing as the near miss, continues down the aisle. In the last seat at the end of the compartment, he comes across homeless woman and dog. Cosmo hands her a buck. She accepts gratefully. Meanwhile, Dog's eyes are locked on Ghost, who stands on the other side of the gangway door. Cosmo notices Dog whining anxiously at the glass, does a double take at the gangway window, but sees nothing. Dog begins snarling aggressively before breaking into full throttle barking. Homeless woman shushes Dog to no avail. Cosmo tries to get away but struggles against the gangway door. The latch won't budge. On the other side of the door, Ghost holds the outer latch, bracing his body against the gangway's metal frame, fighting Cosmo with all his might to keep the door closed. The handle jerks repeatedly, like a dying fish, until suddenly, it stops. Cautiously, Ghost loosens his grip and peers in the window, seeing Cosmo with his back to the door. Cosmo relaxes his posture. Spittle flies from the dog's jowls with each bark. Suddenly, Cosmo spins hard. The door snaps from Ghost's grasp.
No!
As Cosmo steps through the door, Ghost lunges at him and finds himself face down in the sand on a beach in California, 25 years earlier.
Seating 2. Oh. What's that? Oh, now we're seating 2, actually. Now you'll come back at the end. See, I'll cast as we go. But Teresa, so seating 2. All right. So, yeah, awesome.
How you doing, Teresa? Nice to see
Oh
you.
yeah, that's right. You guys are in class together.
Exterior, boardwalk, first day of spring, afternoon. Cosmo, in his early 20s, sits in the shade of a palm tree, playing his bass. Tip bucket at his feet, open wine bottle behind him. He spots Eve, early 20s, gliding along the boardwalk, a manual film camera hanging on her neck, her hair braided with iridescent feathers. A series of bros whistle and catcall. Eve raises the camera to her face and frames them as the bros whoop and pose. Her finger never touches the shutter button as she smiles and tosses them a single bat of her eyelash before continuing on her way.
I saw you there
As Cosmo plays, the song builds into a full arrangement with walk-on mariachi orchestra and gospel choir. People on the street spontaneously become dancers in a synchronous choreography. Cosmo and Eve are suddenly dressed in splendor, dancing close, but never touching, as a swirling human mandala forms around them. Then on the last stroke of the song, everything goes back to normal. Cosmo sits under the palm tree with his bass. People walk by as though he was not there. Eve tosses a few quarters into his bucket. The feathers in her hair shimmer in the sun.
I like that song.
Thanks.
You write it.
Yeah.
Who'd you write it for?
I didn't write it for anybody.
No?
No. I don't write my songs for other people. Who's to say they even want it, much less deserve it? No, my songs are for me. And I guess anybody who likes it.
So I like it. Can I say it's for me?
Sure.
Have we met before?
I don't know.
I feel like we have.
It's possible. I meet a lot of people out here.
No, not here. I feel like I used to know you somewhere before.
You from around here?
No, I'm in school.
No. What are you studying?
Nothing interesting.
And what are you doing?
I don't even know, because it's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
What about you?
What about me?
You in school?
I was a terrible student.
Student of life.
I'm actually a Buddha, you know.
You mean a Buddhist?
No, I mean like Buddha, like I'm one.
You mean like a monk, like a holy person?
I mean, I wouldn't call myself holy, but
But you're a Buddha.
I mean not like the Buddha, but I'm like a Buddha.
So there's more than one?
I mean, I guess so. It's not like Jesus or something.
Although you were drinking wine, so this is kind of like communion, right?
Right. Don't you blaspheme my wine. This here is pure sin.
Cosmo offers the bottle to Eve. She politely declines. He takes a swig. They watch junkies mill around the boardwalk among the yuppies.
So what religion are you?
No, I'm not religious.
What books do you read?
I can't read. I mean, I can read, but I hate books. I try not to.
So what makes you a Buddha?
I mean, I don't know. Okay, a girl told me that one time. I thought it sounded pretty good, but I guess that might not be the best word. Maybe monk is better.
So you sworn to celibacy.
Wait, what? Monks don't do that, do they?
I think they do.
Then I'm definitely not a monk.
You're a Buddha.
Is that not what I just said?
That's what she said.
I think you catch my drift.
That's what he said. What's your name?
I'm Cosmo.
I mean,
They study each other, trying to remember where they met. Interior, Cosmo's studio apartment in California, early spring, day. Light filters dimly into the room from a single window half blocked by the cross posts of a wooden loft. A sheer curtain dances in the current of a box fan sucking air into the cave-like room. The cramped single-room apartment is dense with stuff, but yet well kept. Clearly the residence of an artist. The kitchen is a small burner atop a mini fridge in the corner beside a flimsy door leading to a cramped bathroom. Instruments and an array of musical equipment line a desk underneath a handmade loft of raw lumber. An old velvet couch takes most of the remaining floor space. Cosmo steps in and hastily turns on a few lamps. Eve steps in with the care of a new guest, camera hanging from her shoulder like a purse.
Come on in. Welcome to my humble abode.
you built all this.
I mean, just the obvious stuff.
Pretty handy. We've got quite the toy collection. Do anything useful in it?
Barely.
Eve spots a snow globe among the clutter.
You know, if I was like locked in here all day, I'd probably spend most of it sitting here with this thing. Like,
She holds the orb to her eyes, peering into the glass. Inside the snow globe, a single triangular dot pokes out of an otherwise flat surface of sand. Eve inverts it and watches as the sand swirls, revealing a row of minuscule Egyptian-esque statues, guarding a miniature pyramid with a tiny staircase leading to the tip. The sand settles back, reburring everything. She gives the snow globe another shake before placing it on the desk.
love these things.
She points at something on the desk.
What's this?
You never see a Game Boy?
Don't call me a boy.
It's called a Game Boy. You play games on it.
Oh, no.
Whatever, that's fine. It's just paperweight anyway, it doesn't work anymore.
Too bad. What about this?
She points at a vintage 80s keyboard synth.
Well, this?
Cosmo flips a power strip. LEDs around the desk blink on. He plays a weird pitch bend sound on the keys.
Wee, 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 wee.
Cool.
Wanna try?
No.
Come on. Go ahead.
No, I don't like using my hands.
You what?
I'm clumsy, okay? I just don't like it.
It's not gonna bite.
Seriously, I just don't.
She glares at Cosmo a moment before rolling her eyes and doing a careless tap-tap on the keys, then folding her arms.
Okay, there.
Pretty cool, right?
Okay.
She glances around uncomfortably. Cosmo rubs his palms on his lap.
You want something to drink?
Yeah, aren't you like a wino?
I'm not a wino.
I'm sorry, I don't mean you're the. Sure.
He steps to the kitchen and comes back with 2 Dixie cups and a Magnum bottle of red.
I hope your line is already opened. It's not like old or something. And I only got plastic cups.
Eve gives an agreeable shrug. He fills a cup for her. She takes a good sip as Cosmo pours his own. He raises his cup for a toast. She awkwardly clicks her plastic rim with his before sipping again. Choking down her wine, she points at a series of flat rectangular modules covered in switches, buttons, and dangling cables.
What the hell is all this?
That is a modular synth.
A macho your what?
Yeah. Alright, I'll show you.
Cosmo powers on the unit. Small lights on the console blink to life. He flips a few switches and patches a couple cables. A rhythmic pulse of electronic tones begin looping.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Is that a song?
Oh, it is? I mean, not really. Not yet, anyway.
You should make one.
You think?
Cosmo mindlessly loops a riff on the keyboard, backbeat, and a kick on the drum machine. He picks up the bass and lays down a line. Eve watches Cosmo as he closes his eyes and flows. On the Venice boardwalk, Cosmo is in his spot under the tall palm tree, playing his bass. Eve is camped out on a nearby bench with a notebook in her lap, pen in hand, glancing up at Cosmo ever so often with a wry smile. Homeless guy comes up and drops a pill in Cosmo's box. then grooves on down the boardwalk. Eve smiles as she catches the moment in her sketch. A detailed scene of the entire boardwalk, rendered in ballpoint pen.
Yes.
Inside Cosmo's studio apartment, Eve is recording vocals under the loft with him. They each have their own headphones as they share one mic. She sings one part of the chorus while Cosmo does the other line. The electricity between them is evident as they harmonize sweetly. Later, Cosmo and Eve make out like there's no tomorrow. They bump their elbows on the walls of the cramped bathroom in the rush to get their clothes off. Still connected at the mouth, they step into the shower. Steam fills the room. Late afternoon inside an abandoned church in the middle of a forest, Cosmo admires Eve from across the chapel. She stands in a stream of light, her hair in an updo, as she takes a photograph of a stained glass window being devoured by the tree roots. Cosmo climbs up the crumbling stairs to the altar. He reaches his hand to Eve, she takes it and joins him. He gets on one knee and takes an imaginary box out of his pocket. Cosmo mimes a ring. She pantomimes emotional fluster, puts the invisible diamond on her finger, admiring it. She takes his hand, holds onto it. They gaze into each other's eyes, long, deeply, then kiss. Cosmo and Eve turn to the non-existent congregation, raising their arms in celebration of their union. Cosmo offers his arms to Eve. They stroll like newlyweds down the aisle, dodging imaginary rice as they exit the abandoned church, grinning like fools, running headlong into the woods. Eve races exuberantly through the forest. She glances back. Cosmo's right behind her, still holding her hand. The trees open into a lush, open meadow near a sports arena. Cosmo and Eve throw themselves to the grass. Eve lets her hair out, luscious locks falling around her shoulders, backlit by the late afternoon sun. The arena looms in the distance as they make love in the green grass behind the stadium. Exterior, sunset view, mid-spring, dusk. On a rocky outcrop above the city, the valley sprawls below. Street lamps dot the rolling hills like Christmas lights on a blanket. Eve is snuggled in Cosmo's arms as they admire the sunset.
This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. But there's better out there.
Well, what could be better than this?
How would we know? We haven't been there yet.
Yeah. So you're gonna show me?
Yeah, of course.
Sounds too good to be true.
I will. I promise.
Watch what you promise, Cosy Bear. I might just hold you to it.
Cosmo is genuinely perplexed.
How'd you know to call me that?
What?
Cosy Bear. My mom used to call me that when I was little.
Really? Well, maybe you told me before. Anyway, CB.
Eve glances at him smugly through the corner of her eye. Cosmo squints at her skeptically. She snuggles her shoulder blades onto his chest.
I think I'd like to stay here. Right here. Just like this. Forever.
Okay.
He tightens his arm around her. The remains of day linger in the sky as the sun slowly slips past the horizon. Ghost stands behind them, lost in his own thoughts.
What was it? It was so real. Our love, so pure. When did we let it slip away? Where was it that we got lost? How did we get so far off track?
A gale begins to howl as the light shifts unnaturally. Exterior, DUSTWORLD. Curtains of dust sweep the land as a sandstorm moves through the valley, engulfing Ghost in a whirling hail of grayness. He finds himself inside the sand-swept remains of the Brooklyn apartment. All the items around the room are embedded in place, covered in an eternity of dust. Something buried in the dune. Ghost pulls it out of the sand, blows off the dust. He examines the artifact in his hands. A rusty single photo frame containing a faded 4x5 print of Eve, with her arms thrown around Cosmo's neck, planting a kiss on his cheek in front of the packed van. Cracked glass cuts across the image.
What was it that we forgot? Don't we get a do-over? Was this all there was? I wish I could have loved you more, loved you better.
Ghost surveys the debris. The door to the bathroom is off its hinges. The mirror of the medicine cabinet still hangs above the sink, fractured and faded, but still bearing his reflection.
I wish I hadn't been such an asshole. Oh, God.
Ghost turns away from the cracked mirror. Now he is in his own studio apartment in California, windswept and desolate. The loft stands like an eroded ribcage around Cosmo's possessions peeking out of the sand. He studies the ruins of the room. He notices something impossible.
What went so wrong? Or did it?
The couch is somehow in the same condition as when he lived here. He touches the velvet upholstery, still old and worn, but incongruously pristine compared to the rest of the place. His feet resting in the sand, Ghost sits on the couch and sinks into the familiar seat cushions.
Was all this action just perfect?
Ghost turns. Eve is sitting beside him on the couch, looking at him like he's nuts. Interior, Cosmo's studio apartment in Cali, late spring, evening. Suddenly the room is
My bad. Keep going.
as it was when Cosmo lived here. A few lamps around the room glow as the box fan pulls a gentle breeze of warm night air through the window behind the loft. On the couch, Eve is staring incredulously at Cosmo.
You serious?
I am so serious.
Why? Or I mean, why now?
Why not?
Eve stares at Cosmo intensely. He holds her gaze.
What else are you waiting for to happen in this life?
What else are you waiting for to happen in this life?
What are we going to do when we get there? What are we going to live, Cosmo? How are we going to eat?
We'll figure it out.
But what about us? Did you think about that? What about when we hit that wall? Because Cosmo, I know it's going to happen.
Her eyes begin to glisten. Cosmo takes her in his arms.
Hey. We're gonna make it through. Somehow.
Promise?
I promise.
Anyway,
Eve fades into her own thoughts, heavy with the unknowns, before sighing and giving Cosmo a side eye.
do you know what I like about you?
What?
That you would feign just up and moving across the country on a wing and a prayer. Some crazy chick like me was a perfectly normal thing to do.
Who said anything about normal? You know what's normal? Sitting in a carton, like an egg, just waiting for someone to decide what kind of omelet you're gonna eat. Fuck that. We're the opposite of normal. We're extraordinary.
Moving day. They squeeze one more box into the old VW van already packed to the hill. She cranks the self-timer and throws her arms around his neck, planting a kiss on his cheek as the shutter clicks. On the road, Cosmo is behind the wheel. She points left. He knows. The van nearly sideswipes as a car merges into traffic. More settled down the road, Cosmo passes Eve a lit joint. They hold hands and cruise. Las Vegas. At a craps table, Eve blows on his hand as he throws the dice. Snake eyes. She screams before muffling herself, planting the kisses all over his face as he gathers chips off the table like a thief in the night. High High noon on the freeway, Eve has set her feet on the dashboard. Cowboy hat on her head. Cosmo, in matching cowboy hat, drives shirt off. She snaps a shot of him, gives him love eyes. They cruise together. The van is parked beside a prairie. A cow pokes its head through the fence next to Eve. She kisses its cheek as Cosmo shoots with her camera. They switch places. Cosmo cheeses before the cow turns its head and slimes his face with its tongue. Eve shrieks with delight as she catches the shot. At night, Cosmo is curled up in the passenger seat asleep. Eve smiles at him lovingly from behind the wheel. Early morning, Cosmo driving. He taps Eve. She squints, smiles, raises her camera. New York City. Tall buildings, narrow streets. The Statue of Liberty. On the Brooklyn Bridge. Impossibly huge double arches loom as the van crosses eastbound. Cosmo can only watch in terror as Eve dangles herself outside the speeding van to get a shot as they cross the East River. In the new Brooklyn apartment, Eve opens the living room window for some air. Cosmo brings up the last box from the van. They have their first kiss in Brooklyn. Months later, still smooching, Eve wears a winter jacket. She is in slippers and a robe. He leaves for work. She watches him walk down the frozen sidewalk. In the bedroom under the sheets, Cosmo and Eve sit together inside a tent of fabric. Blankets resting on their heads. Soft light seeping dimly through the sheets. Their lips touch lightly once, then again. On the bed, the lump of their bodies gently writhe under the sheets. Soft candlelight illuminates a line of smoke from an incense burner dancing through their stuff lining the room. A stack of Eve's sketchbooks, among assorted knickknacks and jewelry. On the bedside table, the snow globe. A framed photo of Eve and Cosmo on the sidewalk just before they left California. A folding double frame of Eve and Cosmo with the cow. Eve's shot of the stained glass window of the abandoned church. Cosmo and Eve making love in the green grass behind the stadium. The colors of the room meld into a swirling haze.
All right. Seating 3. Is that seating 3?
Yeah.
Is that where we're at? Okay, good. All right. So for this one, we're gonna do some casting. Okay. You're staying here, and we need a band. We need Adam, Paul, and Kenny. Who wants to be Adam, Paul, and Kenny? All right, you be Adam. You're gonna be you be Kenny.
Okay.
I'll be Paul then?
Oh wait, you're Adam.
Yeah.
You're Adam. I'm sorry. You be Paul. You're Paul.
Paul? Okay.
Yeah, and you're Kenny.
I'm gonna be Ringo.
I'm sorry.
It's
Adam.
like I think I have that one already, unless there's a second Adam there.
Yeah. No wait, Adam and Adam sit over here. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then Paul and Kenny sit over on the end. Actually, yeah, I guess like Paul, you can sit right in your own seat. Ian.
I don't even see
Are you Paul? Okay.
I've got Paul, but I don't see his.
Oh, he's only got one line. In this scene, he's only got one line. And he doesn't have, yeah. He's just recognizing Adam, who is famous. Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me check. See, I have the fucking. This is why you need like sound guys. You need like people. Okay. Check. Okay. I just figured out my mic. I just figured out how to turn on my mic. Yeah. That's fine.
Wasn't the game?
I don't know. Okay. Rock.
Exterior, New York City intersection, DUSTWORLD. Wind whips through the desolate ruins of an avenue in the city. Streetlights poke akimbo out of dunes lining the side of the road. Cars protrude from the sand in a wonky line of rusted body shells, vaguely demarcating a sidewalk. Ghost is outside a pair of corroded metal double doors on a crumbling brick facade.
Was this where it all started? The end.
A collapsed awning lays flattened like a decomposed carcass in the sand drift accumulated against the side of the building. As Ghost approaches, hints of inside lights show through the dirt, caked onto the glass of the door's vision panel. He puts his hands on the corroded door. It groans as he pulls it open. A shower of rust and sand sprinkles down from the frame.
Or was it really just the end of the beginning?
Ghost steps through the doorway. Interior, CBGB, main stage, summer night. Inside a dark, packed New York City dive bar, the crowd is young, hip and high. Thick smoke fills the room. Cosmo is balancing on his mic stand, clearly wasted. Eve is the backup singer at the microphone beside him, trying not to cringe. Behind them are Kenny on keys, Paul on guitar, Dave on drums. A man wearing extensive shades and a designer leather outfit dotted with rhinestones watches from the bar with his entourage. On stage, Cosmo takes a slug from a bottle and glances sideways at Eve, hollers from the tittering audience.
This next one is not about my girlfriend.
Whistles and whoops from the crowd. Eve does not smile.
No, I swear it's not. She hates it when I do that. I'm sorry, babe. No, I swear this one's not about my girlfriend. At least not most of the time, anyway.
Loud laughs and hoots. Eve fails to mask her irritation. The man in leather and rhinestones smirks and says something to one of his cohorts. On stage, Cosmo is too oblivious to notice Kenny rubbing his fingers at Paul and Dave to pay up. Dave rolls his eyes, Paul shakes his head.
Hey, guys, listen, I'm just a little, blitzed. So if I like you, look, just follow me. It'll be good.
was embarrassing Eve with his sloppy antics, and she does not appreciate it. He crosses the stage for a kiss. She smashes his face with her hand. He thinks it's hilarious. She's unamused. As Paul takes a guitar solo, Drunk Chick jumps onto the stage and throws her arms around Cosmo's neck, licking his cheek as the band rocks. Cosmo loves it. Eve is revolted. Kenny and Dave shake their heads and enjoy the show. Paul doesn't notice a thing. Eyes pinched shut in guitar ecstasy. One foot up on the stage monitor as he wails on his axe. Bouncer hops on stage and escorts Drunk Chick away as she fist pumps the crowd to cheers. Eve rolls her eyes as she dutifully keeps her part tight through the outro. Leather and Rhinestones guy is digging it. The crowd approves the jam. Interior, classic diner in Manhattan, summer after midnight. The band are seated at a booth by a street-facing window, having a post-gig bite. Everyone at the table is trying to ignore Cosmo as he blathers on.
So I was like, why would you even say that? Right? Right? I mean, unless you're talking about something else. Right? Oh, God.
I mean, you should know, Cos.
What's that supposed to mean?
Forget it.
What? What?
Forget about it, Cosmo.
You still mad?
Eve plays with her food.
It's a frickin' saw, Eve.
Just drop it, Cosmo.
Drop it? Drop it? God damn it, Eve. You're the one who's always fucking...
Oh, excuse me.
Holy fucking shit. Can I fucking help you?
Cosmo glares up at the intrusion before his face goes slack in shock, the instinctive reference. Adam Ash, famous chiseled features still prominent under leathery skin, after more than 2 decades as a global music icon, puts his hand on Cosmo's shoulder.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say I was at your show tonight. Nice set.
Cosmo's jaw hangs by a thread. Eve's eyes are out of her head. Kenny is stunned. Paul and Dave are starstruck and awestruck. Adam offers his hand to Cosmo.
I'm Adam.
I'm Cosmo.
Adam gestures his still extended arm awkwardly. Cosmo takes it, shakes it.
Is that?
Adam Ash.
So, what did you think of the show?
Liked it. Your singing's pretty decent. Ever took voice lessons?
No.
Yeah, I can tell.
Cosmo's eyes dart sideways. Adam turns to Eve.
And you are?
I'm Eve.
He lifts his shades from his face and takes her hand, gazing into her eyes. He bends regally and plants a kiss on her knuckle. She looks like she might pass out. Cosmo's face twitches.
Eve, you are amazing.
Thank you.
I can tell you got some pipes.
Pipes.
A natural voice. An incredible stage presence. You really made the show.
What the fuck's that supposed to mean?
What?
Oh, you can tell I never took voice lessons. What's that supposed to mean?
Oh.
Adam puts his shades back on.
Oh, no. I mean, you got a great voice too, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, you know, anyone can benefit from a good teacher. Anyone.
No thanks, dude.
Do you teach?
As a matter of fact, I do. Matt?
Adam takes a pen off the table and writes his number on a napkin.
That's my BlackBerry. Hit me anytime.
Adam nods at Kenny, Paul, and Dave, then at Cosmo.
Gentlemen. Andy.
Adam smiles at her over the top of his shades, before sauntering back to his table across the restaurant. As patrons try not to stare, whispering to one another in a wake as he passes by. Cosmo stews as Eve carefully folds the napkin and puts it in her pocket. Ghost is standing in the street outside the window of the diner beside their table, eyes cupped with both hands on the glass.
All right. Seating 4. Here we go. All right. Now, I'm going to start this thing, you know. And you know, with all these pretty much, you don't have to look at me, just go right on through, just plow through. Unless I stop you, yeah?
Central Park. Ghost is looking at something behind a bush. Cosmo crouches in the dirt and trash, spying on Eve and Adam through binoculars. Eve and Adam stroll side by side. He yammers on about something while Eve clutches a notebook to her chest. Ghost looks on, embarrassed as Cosmo clenches his jaw and looks like a psycho behind the bush. Adam and Eve are deep in conversation as they stop at the cart of a nut vendor. Adam peels off a bill, takes a bag of nuts. Eve pops one in her mouth, still piping hot. Nut vendor waves Adam's change. Adam waves him off, and Adam and Eve walk off, never once noticing that the nut vendor is Cosmo.
With this song, actually, go with verses.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Right here.
At the Met, Eve and Adam are discussing a painting on the wall. A museum guard stands beside them. They act as though he wasn't there. Adam puts his hand lovingly on the canvas, feeling its texture. Eve does the same. Museum guard shits a brick. But Eve and Adam, still chatting, just walk off, never once noticing that the museum guard is Cosmo. A Coney Island water gun stand. Adam gives a few tickets to the game attendant as Eve picks up the squirt rifle. A forceful jet of water shoots from Eve's gun into the mouth of the game clown, which is Cosmo. A balloon behind his head fills and bursts, mushing his hair pathetically. Eve slaps with delight as the game attendant hands her a gigantic plush bear. She and Adam walk off, never once noticing that game attendant is Cosmo. At a classic drive-in restaurant, Eve and Adam finish their meal. Cosmo, as a car hop waitress, skates across the parking lot in a miniskirt and paper hat. Adam reaches back with a wadded-up napkin as Cosmo detaches the tray from the car door. The napkin falls on the ground. Cosmo, the waitress, glowers as the Mustang pulls away. In the parking lot, a series of weirdos watch the car as it passes. Cosmo is a tattooed biker on a Harley. Cosmo is a grandma smoking a cigarette. Cosmo is a pair of twin girls wearing matching dresses. Cosmo is a dentist drilling on a helpless patient. Cosmo, the game attendant, frowns. Cosmo, the museum guard, shakes his head. Cosmo, the nut vendor, scowls. Cosmo, the car hop waitress, flips her bangs. The Mustang is a piece of automotive art as it rolls through the parking lot. Jade green exteriors waxed to the high sheen. Classic organic curves looking almost alive. Blood red vinyl infers itself from behind the back seat of the Mustang. The mechanical roof closes, and slowly from above, slowly swallowing them like a Venus flytrap. The classic car rolls past Ghost, who is standing at the exit. He watches sadly, helplessly, forlorn, alone, invisible, as Eve gazes at Adam, who smirks with a swarmy satisfaction. The rear wheels spin against the black top, churning up clouds of white smoke, making Ghost cough. The Mustang zooms off down the road. Ghost remains by the diner, watching the Mustang's red taillights trail into the distance as the full moon looms over the long, dark highway like a spotlight. Interior, Brooklyn apartment, living room, late summer, night. A sweltering night in the apartment without air conditioning. The huge prize bear is keeled over on the floor like a drunken house guest. Cosmo is on the couch with the TV remote in one hand, a nearly empty bottle of whiskey in the other, eyes glazed on an old disaster movie. Eve walks in on the front door. She hangs her purse and jacket.
So how was your hot date?
What?
Your date, Eve. How was your fucking date?
Are you stalking me?
I know who you were with. I know he called you.
What are you talking about?
I know who you were with, Eve. Ash, Eve.
Cosmo, I'm not doing this again with you.
question.
It wasn't a date.
Oh, fucking shit.
He says hi, actually.
Oh, hi, Adam ass.
You know, I will say, maturity is one area he definitely has the upper hand over you.
Yeah, well, fuck
He
him.
said he wants me to try out for a big industry showcase next month. He said I have talent.
Please, just tell me you're naive.
I'm naive. How am I naive? Just because another man sees my talent, I'm being naive?
He just wants one thing,
You're
Eve.
so fucking selfish.
I'm selfish?
Yes, you're selfish and egotistical. What happened to you, Cosmo? You're a complete mess.
I'm a fucking mess. Look at you!
I don't even recognize you anymore. You're not the man I fell in love with.
And what the hell do you think you are? A fucking star?
I thought you believed in me.
If you don't need him! He's a washed up fucking
Are
clown!
you kidding? He's Adam Ash. Do you even know what that means? You always bitch and moan about the shitty cards you were dealt at Cosmo. Well, he's the kind of guy that can deal you a hand.
I don't want anything that guy's dealing.
Well, I fucking do. Is that so wrong? You said we were extraordinary. You think you're so special. Cosmo, you think the world owes you. You're not special. You are a coward. You're the most normal person in the world.
Yeah, well, that may be so. But it doesn't change the fact that you're a fucking slut.
Eve grabs her purse and jacket and walks out on him, slamming the door. Cosmo stews for a moment in tenuous stillness before violently punching the wall with his fist. In the street outside, Eve flags down a yellow cab and climbs inside. Lights of the city glint off the tracks of Eve's tears, and she stares out the window. In the apartment, Cosmo pulls a fresh bottle of whiskey from the shelf and cracks the cap. He lumbers across the room and slumps on the couch as he takes a swig. Inside Madison Square Garden, a valley of humanity sways like ripe wheat. Adam Ash is at the center stage, pick hand cupped to his ear, as the crowd serenades him with his own lyrics. A telecast of the concert is on TV. Cosmo switches the channel. In the VIP dressing room, after Adam's set, a room full of band members and groupies. Eve leans against a table by the side, nursing a beer by herself. Adam, surrounded by hot women and stargazing men, eyes her through the crowd. Eve notices Adam noticing her. Adam smiles from across the room. She sips her beer, hiding a flattered grin. Meanwhile, on the couch, Cosmo takes another slug from the bottle as he stares at the television. Time to hit the after party. The dressing room starts clearing out. Adam walks up to Eve and offers his arm. She looks around awkwardly. Faces of awe and jealousy. She slips her hand into the crook of Adam Ash's elbow and walks with him out of the room. Back at home, the light of the TV dances in Cosmo's glassy eyes as he stares flatly at the screen. On screen, a female reporter with a logo cube microphone interviews a dad and his son decked out in Adam Ash band merch outside Madison Square Garden. Cosmo watches in disbelief as the reporter ditches her interview with the fans and runs off screaming when Adam Ash himself emerges from a side exit in the distance. The camera follows as she rushes alongside a small gang of photographers to intercept Adam at a limousine waiting on the curb. Cosmo blinks hard, eyes bleary. He can't believe what he's seeing as he watches Adam Ash stuck into the limo with Eve. Cosmo takes a hard slug, switches the channel. An old disaster movie plays on cable. A civilian and stewardess at the flight controls of an airline. Lightning claps out the jet. Cosmo is flying the plane. The stewardess is Eve. She smiles and says something to him. Cosmo smiles back. Eve reaches her hand to him. He takes it. She comes in for a kiss. Cosmo moves toward her, closes his eyes. They lean in. Cosmo opens his eyes, back in the dark living room. On screen, the same scene in the cockpit, but with Adam as the male protagonist. Ash and Eve smooch. Cosmo slings the bottle at the TV, which explodes into a shower of glass and liquor. He storms through the apartment like a caged tiger with clenched fists and crazy eyes. He trashes the place. Everything comes crashing down. Adam and Eve walk down a secret VIP hall in the arena, emerging from a side exit. They hustle to a limo waiting by the curb. As paparazzi close in on them, Adam's driver, Jerry, holds the rear door of the limo open. As Eve glances back at the surging horde, popping flashbulbs light up her face. She scrambles into the limo as Adam smiles in apology to the cameras and ducks inside. Jerry squeezes his way around the car to the driver's door. Eve shields her eyes as flashes burst through the glass like lightning in a cockpit. The camera lenses clack on the tinted window as the car's tire churns smoke and the limo gets away. Cosmo gropes in the medicine cabinet, grabbing at a container of pills and emptying it in his mouth. Eve sits across from Adam, staring out the window with a clouded expression. Adam observes her curiously from a respectful distance. Cosmo closes the medicine cabinet and glowers at himself in the mirror. He blocks his reflection with his hand, leaning into the glass until it cracks. He teeters briefly before trying to catch his balance on the shower curtain. Plastic rungs snapping off the rod. The limo drops Eve in front of the building. She opens the door, sensing something is off. She calls Cosmo's name. She cries out in horror. Cosmo's lying face down on the bathroom floor in a puddle of his own bloody vomit. Cosmo's eyes blank and staring, lips going.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you understand. Okay, so this all ends. And then, here we go. Alright.
Cosmo, eyes blank and staring, lips gone blue, shirtless and strapped into a stretcher in a speeding ambulance. The rear doors swing open and the gurney is wheeled across painted blacktop into the emergency room. Hovering by the white ceiling panels, Cosmo, healthy and whole, is floating as if in zero gravity. Observing the bustle in the room, he notices Eve, eyes swollen from crying. Hospital staff working with urgency. A heart monitor blips weakly. Flatline. An attendant approaches with a defibrillator. Suddenly he spots Ghost, standing in the corner of the room, staring directly at him, horrified recognition. On the operating table, defibrillators fire. Cosmo's dead body convulses briefly before settling back into lifelessness. Terrified, floating, Cosmo covers his eyes with his hands. He opens his eyes to find himself above the hospital. His skin is fresh and radiant, eyes wide open, taking in everything as he soars over the city. He reaches toward the ground but keeps rising higher, falling up, away from the earth. The curvature of the planet becomes evident as Cosmo hurtles away, ever further away, his eyes brought to tears by rays of the sun peeking over the edge of the planet. He shuts his eyes and stretches his arms and legs outward as he's further swept away from the world. Adrift in outer space, the Earth is a distant marble, smaller than the sun. As Cosmo floats spread-eagled in a supplication, Ghost appears, colliding with Cosmo from behind, his limp torso bending like it might break. Then 4 spirit entities appear. One by one, they take each a hold of Cosmo's arms and legs until he lies prone on their bed of hands. They appear to be completely still, floating among the stars. But in fact, they are moving at incredible speed, back toward the Earth. The blue sphere looms over the larger, ever larger until it consumes the horizon in every direction. Cosmo gasps as he surges downward through the atmosphere, crushed by the pressure. Defibrillators fire again. The body spasms, gasps. The line on the monitor returns to regular peaks. Standing at the edge of the room, unconsciously touching his torn shirt, Ghost scans the ceiling. Floating Cosmo is gone. In the recovery ward, Cosmo has tubes in his nose and arms. Eve has dark circles under her eyes. Later at the still trashed Brooklyn apartment, Eve takes her last items out of the dresser and squeezes them into already 2 full suitcases. She notices something on the floor near the bed, picks it up, the picture frame from the bedside table. Broken glass cutting across the image of her and Cosmo, filled with excitement. On the sidewalk in California beside the packed van, seemingly a lifetime ago. Eve breaks into convulsing sobs. In the living room, Cosmo, wearing a hospital gown over his jeans, enters the apartment and surveys the carnage. All traces of Eve are gone except the cracked picture, lying flat on the empty dresser. Cosmo picks it up and stares at the shattered image.
Right. Season 5. So now we're looking at season 5. We got Adam back, and we need a Jerry. Who wants to be Jerry? All right, Josimar, you can be Jerry. All right. We're rolling along good. Okay. All right. But first, we're gonna do a song, then. We'll go.
Interior, Brooklyn apartment, DUSTWORLD. Desert winds howl as Ghost stands alone in the ruins of the bedroom holding the picture frame in his hands. Sediment encrusts the edges and the photo is faded and yellow, but the crack in the glass remains the same. Interior, Brooklyn apartment, night. The suitcase is open and full of Eve's stuff. Ghost stands nearby as Eve holds the picture frame in her hands, running her finger over the crack in the glass, sobbing. Ghost looks on helplessly, but before he notices her tears are receding upward, toward her eyes as the time moves backward. On a previous night in the apartment, Ghost observes Cosmo on the couch with a bottle of whiskey and the remote. Eve, looking unhappy, walks backward toward Cosmo on the couch. She takes a seat and looks at him sadly. He takes a slug from the bottle and says something cruel. Eve smiles and asks him to come to bed, then rests her head on his shoulder. He never takes his eyes off the screen as Eve sleeps on his shoulder. Another night, Cosmo and Eve kiss deeply, and then look deep into one another's eyes. Cosmo looks at the picture frame in his hands, a gift from Eve. The framed picture of her planting a kiss on Cosmo's face on the sidewalk in California, beside the packed van. He smiles and laughs before his fingers untear the wrapping paper. He hands the wrapped gift to Eve, who takes it and hides it behind her back, with a mischievous look as she walks backward from the table. Seemingly a lifetime ago, a vinyl record rotates counterclockwise as Cosmo and Eve stand in the middle of the living room of the Brooklyn apartment, kissing. Tender words, bare feet turn gentle circles on the hard wood. She leans into him blissfully, resting her face on his shoulder, slow dancing.
hanging in the air. How can I go when you're not there? Oh, I'm blue. Oh, when I'm here with you. Oh, when I'm here with you. I can read the writing on the wall. I can feel the coming of the fall. I can give you all the parts of me. If only you could see me free. How can I go when you're not there? When I'm here with you, how can I go when you're not there? When I'm here with you, when I'm here with you, how can I go when you're not there?
Interior, Brooklyn apartment, DUSTWORLD. Still holding the cracked picture in his hands, Ghost steps across the sand-worn floorboards to the crumbling window and gazes across the ruins of the city.
Where did you go?
Through howling desert winds, a crackling rumble in the distance. Interior, Adam's limo, mid-fall, evening. Distant thunder rolls outside the limo as Jerry navigates the rain-slicked road. In the passenger section of the stretch limousine, Eve stares out the window as Adam taps out a message on his BlackBerry. Suddenly, the brakes slam. Rubber squeals to a jolting stop. Gesturing through the windshield, Jerry leans on the horn in exasperation at some dumb kid frozen like a deer in the limo's headlights. Outside on the crosswalk, Steve, mid-20s, wearing his Brooklyn Bakery work hoodie under the flannel shirt and backpack, walking in the rain without an umbrella, sheepishly raises his hand in apology.
What the hell is wrong with this guy?
Are we good?
Nah, yeah, the guy just jumped out of nowhere. Fucking idiot. Sorry, boss.
Nah, just get us there in one piece, Jared.
Copy.
Exterior, street crossing, mid-fall, continuous. As Adam's limo glides away down the wet street, Steve hustles to the sidewalk, unknowingly walking right by Ghost, who glowers at Steve as he passes. Interior, Adam's limo, mid-fall, continuous. Adam's BlackBerry pings. He checks it.
Oh, shit. They're at the Billmore.
Eve stares out the window.
Hey, babe, listen. I gotta meet these guys. You hungry? I know it's a little late.
No.
They got food there. You should eat something.
Eve doesn't respond.
Look, I really gotta be there. Just a couple of drinks, a little schmoozy. Won't be long. Chucky's girl will be there. You and her get along, good.
She sighs.
Hey, listen. It's Thursday at the Billmore. They always line up a good band at the joint.
Eve regards Adam for a moment, then turns back toward the window.
Fine.
She leans away as Adam attempts and fails to get a kiss. He regards her for a moment before reaching toward the front and knocking on the driver's partition.
Hey, Jerry, change of plans.
Exterior, Biltmore parking lot, mid-fall, evening. Jerry pulls into the famed Biltmore, a sprawling venue with restaurants and a lounge, known for its live music and an A-list clientele. In the drop-off area, fancy people spill out of the expensive cars. In lights on the marquee, the cosmonauts. A uniformed valet opens the passenger door as a host greets them to lead them inside. Adam offers his arm to Eve. She takes it emotionlessly. The host leads them through the opulent hotel lobby to the VIP entrance of the famed music venue. Interior, Biltmore Hall, mid-fall, continues. Cosmo is on stage in matching suits with Kenny, Paul, and Dave. They hit the last chord of a song. Applause. The main stage area is a cavernous room with a full bandstand beside a section of freestanding tables. The host leads Eve and Adam through the crowd toward the lounge where Adam's party awaits. As Adam tries to keep up with the host, who beelines toward the back, Eve stops in her tracks when she realizes who is on stage.
Thank you all so much. You've been great. So, this next one is a new song. I wrote it for someone special. Maybe you'll hear it sometime.
Interior, Biltmore Lounge, mid-fall, evening.
Ah, oh, we're on seating 6.
Yeah, sorry, I
Seating 6.
just started
Okay.
out of nowhere.
Seating 6. All right. Cosmo, Eve, Kenny, Paul, Dave. So, oh, we needed Paul. We have Paul and.
I can recall.
Okay, Paul, and you were you Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we need a Dave. Oh, Bobby, you want to? Oh, wait, Bobby, you want to be Dave? No. Who wants to be Dave? We need a Dave. Who can be Dave? Dave is very easy. You just say.
Where's Dave?
I'll be Dave.
You want to be Dave?
I'll
Okay.
be Dave.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, y'all. All right, boys. I guess. Okay. I'm ready for you.
Interior, Biltmore Lounge, mid-fall, evening. As Adam schmoozes with a table of business associates, Eve excuses herself and heads to the ladies' room. After breaking down in tears inside a stall, she composes herself and checks herself in the mirror before emerging from the ladies' room and heading away from the lounge. Passing an ice machine in the hall on her way to the backstage area. Interior, Biltmore backstage, mid-fall, evening. Outside of Cosmo's dressing room, Eve stands, knuckles raised to knock as Ghost stands beside her, unseen.
This was the last time I saw you.
Inside the dressing room, the band is hanging around having a post-gig meal. Cosmo opens a water bottle and takes a long swig. A knock on the door.
Come in.
Eve enters the room. Kenny, Paul, and Dave swarm Eve with a hug.
Evie.
Well, look who just dropped out of heaven.
Hey girl, could have used you up there tonight.
Hi, guys.
She greets the boys warmly, then looks at Cosmo, who remains seated, speechless. Paul stretches awkwardly.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but that bar upstairs has been calling my name all night.
Dude, please have some sensitivity. Mr. Pristine over here don't drink no more, remember?
Kenny cocks his head unsubtly at Cosmo and winks at Eve.
Totally clean the sap.
Cosmo puts the water bottle down and rubs his palms on his lap.
Besides, I thought you said them cheap asses don't give no free drinks to the band in this hole.
Dave puts his hand on Kenny's shoulders and guides him toward the door.
Come on, I'll buy you a Coke.
Better make it rum and coke, asshole.
Paul winks at Eve and follows them out, pulling the door shut. Cosmo slowly rises, searching for words. His eyes dart around the room.
Hi.
Hey,
You look nice.
thanks. You want something to eat? Fries are pretty good.
She shakes her head. He stares, just registering that she is there.
How'd you know we were playing tonight?
I didn't. It was an accident. A coincidence.
Is he here with you? Not that I give a shit, but I mean, he's fucking Adam Ash.
He's not better than you.
Is he with you? You shouldn't have come here.
I had to see you
Why?
because I miss you.
Eve, you're with him now.
Cosmo, I don't know what you want me to say.
Say you hate me.
I don't hate you. I never hated you. I've never wanted any of this.
Oh, God. What are you talking about? I live in the dream, Eve.
It's not my dream.
But you left.
God damn it, Cosmo. Do you really not get it? You were killing yourself. I still don't know why you would do that. How you would do that. To me, Cosmo, to us. Why?
So why don't you just go back to him? What the hell are you doing here with me?
Because I don't love him. I love you. Why did you push me away?
Because I'm a fuck up, Eve. Because I was scared. Because I didn't want to lose you first.
Cosmo, you were never losing me. You were losing yourself. I don't know where you went to, but it was someplace I just couldn't go with you.
No. You're right, Eve. How could you? It didn't have anything to do with you. I mean, how were you supposed to know? But I carry a lot of pain inside.
Cause everyone hurts. Hurting is normal.
You said it yourself. I'm the most normal person in the world.
Cosmo, you are normal. And so am I, and that's a good thing.
Doesn't feel good.
But at least we can feel something.
She reaches out and strokes his cheek.
Baby. I'm so sorry.
Cosmo, I do hate you, and I love you so, so much.
They meld in each other's arms.
Come back.
I don't know how we got here.
Just come back.
What about when we hit that wall again? Because Cosmo, I can't go back there.
Just come back.
Eve tries to find her words.
Cosmo, he asked me to.
I got your letter.
Eve holds his gaze.
Yeah, I heard.
They look at the ring on her finger.
So what did you tell him?
I told him I was going to the bathroom.
Well then,
I'll see you later.
I'll be waiting.
They kiss for the last time. Eve exits the dressing room, pulling the door shut behind her.
Don't go. He pauses, as though she heard something before shrugging me off.
Sorry. Eve pauses as though she heard something, before shrugging it off and continuing on.
Please.
Ghost follows her, hustling to catch up as she turns down a hallway. As he rounds the corner, just a step behind, Eve is already at the end of the corridor, exiting a door.
No!
He breaks into a sprint. The lights in the hall behind him begin shutting off, one by one, enveloping him in complete darkness.
No!
He calls into the abyss, eyes shut in prayer.
Eve! Where are you?
I'm still here.
Seating 7. So here we have seating 7, Ghost, Eve's Ghost, Boy, and Mom. All right. You guys are alive. All right.
Old times.
Yes, reunions. All right, I'm ready. Ready.
In the empty void, Eve's ghost appears before him, in timeless spiritual form, resplendent and complete. She smiles at Ghost as though she has always been there. She turns and walks off toward a blurry area of vague haziness. As Ghost follows her, the haze comes into focus, greens and earth tones below, whites and blues above, eventually revealing the lawn behind a white suburban house on a sunny day. Exterior, childhood backyard, early summer, afternoon. Ghost looks around, mesmerized.
I know this place.
On the lawn, Cosmo's snow globe sparkles in the sun. A very young boy plays in a sandbox with a well-loved stuffed toy fox. Mom sits nearby in a lawn chair in the shade of a leafy oak tree. The stuffy goes flying, landing in the grass near the snow globe.
Good boy.
Boy climbs out of the sandbox to retrieve his toys.
You hungry, Cozy Bear?
Mm-hmm.
How's fish sticks?
Okay.
He picks up the snow globe and is about to reach for his crash-landed buddy when he stops in his tracks, then slowly looks up, entranced. Standing in front of the boy Cosmo is Eve's ghost, backlit by streaming sun. The edges of her hair glowing like a halo.
You gonna be good out here by yourself while I make lunch?
He nods, staring intently at the apparition. Mom walks over and ruffles his head. She cannot see what he's staring at.
You okay?
Young Cosmo nods again. Ghost watches as the mom squints skeptically at her kid, then disappears into the house.
I think your fox thinks he's a dog.
A dog?
Eve's ghost gestures behind him on the grass, sitting upright and alert, is Fox, a living, breathing version of his stuffed toy, sitting on its haunches and wagging its tail. Boy scratches Fox behind his ear. Fox leans and rolls over, turning playfully on its back. Boy puts the snow globe on the grass and rubs Fox's belly with 2 hands as it paws the air with joy.
Whoa, yeah, I guess he does.
Does he know fetch?
The animal's ears perk instantly at the word, jumping up and turning in an excited circle. Fox waits expectantly, tail swishing back and forth.
Sure.
Boy picks up a stick from the ground.
Hey boy, fetch.
He throws the stick as hard as he can. Fox bounds off and comes running back with it, thrilled. Boy takes the stick and rubs Fox on the head.
Good boy. Hey boy, sit.
Fox sits obediently.
He's very well trained.
Yeah, I tamed him real good.
Eve's ghost kneels by Fox and ruffles its fur as it licks her hand.
Where did you come from?
I came from where we were.
We were?
Or will be.
Will be.
Soon.
Boy's confused. Fox whines.
I remember this. It's one of my earliest memories.
You told me it was my imagination, but I knew it was real. You were real.
I am.
Oh, Eve. I can't. I wish.
She raises her fingers to his lips.
I'll see you later.
Boy follows her eye line, but only sees her standing alone with her finger raised. He stares at her cockeyed.
Who are you talking to?
Talking to you, Cosmo.
Hey, how do you know my name?
Of course I know your name, Cozy Bear.
Cozy Bear. That's what my mom calls me.
I know.
How do you know?
Because you told me, silly.
I did?
Eve's ghost picks up the snow globe from the ground, gives it a good shake. She admires the swirling diorama for a moment before handing it to Boy.
Come on. I want to show you something.
What?
The most beautiful place you've ever seen.
She casts a knowing glance at Ghost, who tries to remember what happens next. The sandbox seems to be glowing. Eve's ghost steps onto the sand, disappearing into the dazzling stream of light. Boy grins and jumps in, quickly followed by Fox. Ghost follows. Brilliant light envelops him. In the distant past, beyond ancient, a series of colossal statues line a grand boulevard leading to a mountainous blue pyramid with a pinnacle of solid gold. Ghost is a prince, handsomely royal, riding an elephant. Atop the pyramid, inside the gleaming altar, Eve is a princess in a lavish ceremonial gown, watching the procession approach. On the avenue below, Prince gazes at the huge blank eyes of the Grand Colosseum. Musicians march alongside revelers and elephants. Flower girls carpet the road with fresh petals. Ahead, the deep blue pyramid seems an extension of the ocean rising to meet the sky. Marble steps ascend the sheer azure slope like a wave crest opening a stairway to the heavens. Prince looks up at the golden peak, impossibly far. A high priest smiles kindly, gesturing to lead the way. The marble steps stretch interminably to the shining altar. Prince ascends, followed by the high priest and various attendant holy men. Prince smiles warmly as they enter the altar. The walls cast a golden glow as Prince and Princess hold their palms out in the solemn vow. The high priest draws a ceremonial dagger. The blade makes a small cut on her arm, palm, and then his. Blood pools in their cupped hands as they turn to face one another, looking deeply. Into each other's eyes they clasp hands, joining open wounds in a sacred union. Months later, a fire burns beside a steaming bath in the water. Princess's face drips with sweat as a midwife delivers a baby boy straight into her mother's arms. Attendants congratulate Prince, who is exhausted. A few years later, Prince and Princess are seated on a riser in the banquet hall. Suddenly, Fox starts across the riser, Boy chasing behind. Prince rolls his eyes in embarrassment. Princess whispers something in his ear. Prince watches as she kneels with Boy, pointing out the musicians. On the bandstand, horn players puff cheeks. String players away. Fox sniffs around, bored as Boy watches the musicians mesmerized. From across the room, Princess looks at Prince. She winks, gesturing outside. Prince smiles and rises, heading to the garden. Fireflies mingle with stars in the night sky. Princess and Prince gaze deeply into each other's eyes as they dance in the moonlit garden, holding hands just as they had at their betrothal. Suddenly, Fox bounds by, followed shortly by Boy. Prince is annoyed. Princess is amused. She musses Prince's hair, musses Prince's hair, and dashes off into the garden. He grins, taking off after her. She bobs and weaves through the garden. Prince tries to keep up. She ducks among a thatch of mammoth lily flowers, her dress camouflaging perfectly. Prince barrels past her, oblivious. He comes upon a small pond covered in giant lilies. Reflected in the water, the disk of a full moon shines whole and clear, before being obscured by a strangely concentric ripple. He looks up to see an ominous blot of smoky darkness. Suddenly, he's wearing Cosmo's New York City street clothes. He's once again Ghost. His shirt torn below the left arm. Around him is a desert, barren, sand stretching to the horizon. He spots something in the distance and runs toward it. The altar where Prince and Princess took their blood vow pokes out of a dune like a small hut, the only exposed part of the once magnificent pyramid. A shiny object in the sand, the snow globe. He picks it up. Ghost stands by the tip of the pyramid, staring at the glass ball in his hands, not realizing that he is encased inside a snow globe held in the hands of Eve's ghost. She stands by the tip of the pyramid in the desert, staring at the orb in her hands, not realizing that she is encased inside a snow globe held in the hands of Boy. who is in a transfixed daze, sitting in the sandbox, holding the snow globe in his stubby fingers. The stuffed fox lays beside him, a limp heap of fabric.
And fade out. We're gonna fade that out. Okay. So you can go up.
Exterior, childhood backyard, early summer, afternoon. Sitting in the sandbox holding the snow globe, boy is in a transfixed daze. The stuffed fox lays beside him, a limp heap of fabric. Mom comes out with a ketchup bottle and fish sticks on a plate. Boy looks at her disoriented, as if awoken from a deep sleep.
Cosmo, lunchtime. Did you have fun in the sandbox? You looked like you were having a good time.
Where did she go?
Where did you go, sweetie?
Where did she go?
Boy starts crying. Mom puts down the fish sticks and rushes over to comfort him.
Cozy, what happened?
Still clutching on the snow globe in his hands, little Cosmo cries inconsolably as Mom takes him into her arms. Ghost watches dense clouds blacken the sky. Exterior, childhood backyard, dust world. A dust funnel dances around the suddenly long dead oak tree as an arid wind gusts through the yard. The upper edge of the sandbox protrudes from the slope of a dune swept up against the shell of what once was Cosmo's childhood home. Ghost trudges through the wasteland, alone.
Seating 8. Seating 8. So that's just 3 of us here. Cool. I'm ready for you.
Interior, Adam's limo. Mid-fall, night. Eve stares blankly out the window as the limo cruises down the dark highway. Adam stews in his own thoughts before finally drawing a deep breath.
So, I guess that was your friend's band tonight, huh?
Who?
Cosmonauts. That's his name, isn't it? Cosmo.
Eve does not answer.
Coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have brought you here if I...
It was your idea to come.
No, I know. So, did you see him?
Yes.
You know, I meant what I said. I'd like to give you the world. I can. But only if it makes you happy.
Her finger rubs the engagement ring on her hand. In the driver's compartment, Jerry sneaks a peek in the rearview mirror. Ghost, riding shotgun, listens quietly. In the kitchen of the Brooklyn apartment, Cosmo smokes a cigarette, the jacket and tie from the Biltmore show tossed over a chair. Flip phone closed on the table. Cosmo spots something shiny in the space below, a side cabinet. Ghost watches him crush out the butt. Inside Adam Ash's apartment, Adam lays in a bed asleep. Eve is packed and ready to leave. Ghost watches as she takes off the engagement ring. She places the ring with a handwritten note on the bedside table on her way out. As the door clicks shut, Adam opens his eyes, staring at the ring sadly. Meanwhile, Cosmo pulls the snow globe from under the cabinet, blows off the dust, turns it in his hands, and sand swirls. Downstairs from Adam's place, Eve flags down a yellow cab, tosses her suitcase in the trunk, gets in the passenger door. She cannot see Ghost, already sitting next to her in the back seat. Meanwhile, at the Brooklyn bakery, Steve is in his brown work hoodie, trying to maneuver an overstacked hand truck. The tower topples, spilling pastries everywhere. Bakery boss yells at Steve, who stares at the mess. In Brooklyn Bakery's parking lot, the delivery truck rumbles to life as Steve maneuvers out. The wheel bumps the curb, making the faulty front passenger door slide open. Steve nonchalantly leans over and grabs the handle, casually throwing it shut before pulling out onto the street. Ghost watches from the sidewalk as his truck lumbers away. In the kitchen, Cosmo's head bobs as he nods out onto the table. Snow globe still in hand, the city cuts a jagged edge against the brackish sky as Eve's taxi crosses the Brooklyn Bridge. She dials on her phone's keypad and puts it to her ear. On the kitchen table, the phone inches toward Cosmo as it vibrates. He twitches with a hypnotic jerk as the slow globe advances precariously. A momentary sadness crosses Eve's face as she closes her handset. She takes in the view across the harbor. The Statue of Liberty looms in silhouette against the shadowy shores of New Jersey as the cab takes Eve home to Brooklyn. Meanwhile, fallen leaves curl in the delivery truck's wake as Steve drives fast through the early morning streets over a pothole, which jars the faulty door loose. It slides open with a blast of wind that tosses his hair. Outside the apartment, streetlights mingle with the first hints of day. The road is blanketed in large yellow maple leaves. The light of early dawn creeps through the windows of the kitchen as Cosmo slumps on his chair. Eve's cab pulls up across the street. Taxi driver gets out and walks back to the open trunk. Eve steps out of the cab and smiles faintly as she sets foot on the familiar block. Meanwhile, the delivery truck barrels down the street. Golden leaves flutter outside the faulty door. Without taking his eyes off the road, Steve gropes blindly for the handle. No dice. He glances quickly at the door, then reaches again, grazing it with his fingertips. In the street, the taxi driver hands Eve her suitcase. She hands him his cash. The cab driver turns to shut the trunk as Eve wheels the suitcase across the carpet of yellow foliage to the other side of the street. Upstairs in the kitchen, the snow globe slips out of Cosmo's limp fingers, falling to the table, beginning a slow roll to the edge. Inside the delivery truck, Steve looks annoyed. He glares at the door handle and leans way over, grabbing it, finally getting a good grip. He throws it shut. Satisfied, he sits up, sees the road. Face goes pale, brakes slam. Blocked tires slide on yellow maple leaves like banana peels. Taxi driver shouts, hands holding his head. Eve barely has time to turn around before the delivery truck's headlights flood her face white. Upstairs, Cosmo jolts awake in a cold sweat. His phone is blinking. He snatches it, opens it. Missed call. Eve, 4:20 a.m. Current time, 4:44 a.m. On the street below, Steve is in shock, squeezing his eyes shut, trying not to cry. Taxi driver stands with his mouth agape, hands still holding his head. Cosmo looks out into the kitchen window. The snow globe rolls off the table's edge. Inside the snow globe, the tiny desert loosens and floats upward in zero gravity. The image of Cosmo dashing frantically out of the spiraling room rotates in a dizzying orbit outside the glass. The pyramid and the guardian figures emerge from the swirling depths, their little world falling in slow motion toward the tile, shattering into a million pieces across the kitchen floor. Exterior, Brooklyn Street, DUSTWORLD. Ethereal light curls through crumbling brownstone facades. Dust billows through the ruins of the block where Cosmo and Eve once lived. Flowing hair and white lily dress undulating in the wind. Eve's ghost stands between the rusted hulks of the delivery truck and a yellow cab. The vehicles are frozen in time, embedded in rippling desert. The trunk of the taxi is still open, overflowed with sand, buried, ajar. The nearby outline of the suitcase is visible in the dune. Ghost stands nearby, paying her a respectful distance as she looks upon her own corpse, devoid of life, but still beautiful, gathering dust in the remains of the road. Exterior, abandoned tunnel, early winter, raining, early morning. Sometime after Eve died, a cold downpour falls upon an isolated forested area, tucked between a highway running along the Hudson River and the city, extending from the hill above. Hidden in the woods, the opening of an abandoned subway tunnel. Ghost watches Cosmo as he sits alone in the cement cavern. He has not had a shave in weeks, longer without a haircut. He sits, hugging his knees, staring at the water dripping into a large puddle at the entrance to the cave. Huge droplets, like miniature snow globes, crash into the surface of the water, creating tiny silver explosions, ripples shimmering outward until On a clear night 25 years later, the perfectly still surface of the puddle is a smooth mirror reflecting the full moon in a starry sky. Grizzled and worn, yet peaceful and contemplative, Cosmo absently twists the long whiskers on his chin as he cooks a hot dog over a small bonfire burning in a can. His hair is uncut since Eve died. He has constructed a shelter inside the tunnel with old scraps and gathered parts. His beat-up bass leans against a cot next to the hand cart, the mini amplifier still strapped to it. Ghost watches as Cosmo takes a bite of hot dog, chewing slowly as he watches the moon. Interior, subway, late winter, underground. A clattering New York City subway car. Cosmo, over a half-century-year old, a mane of gray peppered hair perched on his head like a twisted hide, wears the same clothes as Ghost, but his shirt is untorn below the sleeve. He plays a song to no one in particular.
I'm standing here alone, swaying side to side. Feeling you make me smile. Should I pick up the phone? The pretense of the music embarrasses you. Laughing, you tell me you love me. I know you're only saying it so you can't stop dancing, but I bet this one's like 'cause I know you do. I'm thinking of you 'cause tonight I don't really feel like cooking, but I want home cooked food, and I'd like to see your face, your smile, your lips, your eyes, your expressions, your laugh, your attitude. Ride the train to work and I find more often than not I'm smiling and looking like an introspective fool. The people around me may think that I'm lost, but they're wrong tonight, 'cause I'm sitting on that subway car with you. I'm thinking of you 'cause tonight I don't really feel like cooking, but I want home cooked food, and I'd like to see your face, your smile, your lips, your eyes, your expressions, your laugh, your attitude. I ride the train to work and I find more
seating. Last seating 9. Cosmo, Dawn, Johnny, and we need a Delante. You're gonna be Delante? Okay, be Delante, Hope. I'd love you to be Delante. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh, wait for me. Okay, I got it. Right here, I'm with you. Okay, I'm ready for you.
Interior, subway, late winter, underground. Tracks screech as the train enters the station. Dawn is on the platform with Johnny and Delante. Delante rolls a blunt. Johnny, in a jacket with a large cobra on the back, slaps his hand loudly on the outside hull of the moving train. Dawn drags on a cigarette as she watches the first subway car glide slowly by. She locks eyes with Cosmo inside, smiling and winking at him as she exhales a cloud of smoke. The train squeals to a stop. The troublesome trio enter at the rear of the second car. The doors chime and close. The train jerks into motion. Kid stares at them. Johnny cracks a maladjusted grin and twiddles his fingers at the child, who casts his eyes at his lap. Johnny smirks and turns his attention toward a homeless woman. He gives a little tug on her blanket. Doug growls from beneath the covers. Johnny flinches and rips the gangway door open, scrambling to the next car. Delante laughs his ass off as Dawn pushes him through, pulling the door shut behind them. Homeless woman shakes her head in disgust as she fixes the blanket. Dog gives a bored whine and yawn. As the other end of the car, Cosmo enters from the front gangway, bass guitar on his shoulder, toting his aunt behind him. Loud guy yammers on his cell phone. Meanwhile, in the gangway between cars, subway tracks blur underfoot. Ghost is between the second and third compartments, hair blowing in every direction. Inside the second car, Cosmo plays. Kid and mother are entranced. Loud guy watches without displeasure. Old lady listens with her eyes closed. Dog is curled in a homeless woman's lap. Cosmo finishes his song, accepts a high five and $1 from Kid. Thanks mother as she puts away her wallet. Ghost pulls the manual latch on the door and enters the second car beside homeless woman, who watches in astonishment as the door slides open, seemingly by itself. She shudders as frigid air blasts onto the car before the door closes on its own. Dog whines, ears turned back, tail swishing anxiously, staring at Ghost, who is right next to them. Homeless woman follows Dog's eye line. She sees nothing, but shivers as Ghost walks by, pulling the blanket closer around herself. A sudden violent jerk of the train, Ghost beelines toward Cosmo, who sways hopelessly off balance. The headstock of his guitar swings wildly. Ghost reaches forward just in time to deflect the neck of the bass with his outstretched arm. The headstock barely misses old lady's skull, grazing her silver hair. In amazed shock, old lady touches her fingers to her head before clutching her Bible. Whoops! Back on the gangway, Ghost stares through the window, watching as Cosmo gathers himself before continuing down the aisle. Spotting homeless woman, Cosmo gives her a buck from his money box, then turns to approach the gangway. Ghost grips the outer handle of the door. Cosmo reaches for the inner door handle before pausing. He glances back at Dog, which is whimpering and staring directly at the glass of the gangway door. Ghost watches with agitation as Cosmo lingers. Dog shifts into aggressive mode at Ghost. Cosmo recoils and tugs the gangway door handle. Meanwhile, out in the gangway, Ghost clutches the outer handle with both hands, bracing his body against the frame of the doorway. The handle thrashes and jerks as Cosmo tries to get out. Ghost grunts with exertion as he fights Cosmo. Meanwhile, inside the car, Cosmo is starting to lose his cool. He lets go of the door and turns to face the angry Dog. Spittle flies from convulsing jaws. Everyone's on the train is staring. Cosmo cracks an odd smile. With his back to the door, he slips his fingers around the latch handle and coils himself from the cord. Outside the door, Ghost loosens his grip, apprehensively pulling himself up to peer in the window. Cosmo unleashes a forceful crank on the door. The suddenly loose latch gives zero resistance as the door flies open. A powerful gust of wind smacks Cosmo in the face. The rebounding metal slap chomps him as he clambers onto the gangway. Dog's muffled barking gives way to the clatter of metal wheels on bending rails as the door latches shut behind him. One hand on his guitar, the other gripping the handcart, Cosmo squeezes his body and gear onto the narrow outer platform and looks around, considering his options. As the speeding cars pitch, he reaches one foot across the yawning gap. Tracks blur like rapids just below. Cosmo brings his other foot to the ledge of the next car, leaning awkwardly to keep a grip on the cart. A sudden hard jerk of the train. Cosmo is slammed against the guardrail. The base clangs against the hull of the third car. The cart slides toward the gap, hopelessly off balance. Arms flailing, he goes down. Before realizing he hasn't fallen. The bass guitar is caught on the guard chain, somehow bracing Cosmo's nearly horizontal body from falling to the tracks. He carefully inches himself back to his feet. The handcart has somehow landed neatly upright beside him. Cosmo checks himself again before stealing another peek down at the tracks. Meanwhile, inside the third car, Delante sits with both feet up on the end seat, sucking a drag on the blunt, while Johnny tries to kiss up on Dawn. They have annoyed most of the other riders to the other side of the compartment, or into the next car.
Hey Johnny, get the fuck off.
Come on, you know you want it.
The gangway door beside them slides abruptly open.
Hey, guitar guy.
Cosmo casually wheels in his amp from the gangway as though he has not just cheated death.
Guitar guy, you know, you're kinda cute.
Fuck you talking about? Dude's a goddamn beggar.
He ain't no beggar. He's an artist. Ain't you?
Oh, you not a beggar, huh? You rich?
Delante exhales a stream of white smoke. Johnny eyes the pile of bills in Cosmo's money box.
How much money you got in there?
Stop being an asshole, Johnny.
Johnny pulls out a blade. Cosmo's eyes widen. Ghost looks on from the corner.
Oh, Johnny, come on.
Give me your money.
I'm sorry, I can't.
You can't? I think you can. Give me your fucking money.
Johnny, don't.
Johnny grabs at Cosmo's cash box. Cosmo yanks it away.
You really think you slick, motherfucker?
Johnny smirks and pretends to relax for a moment before lunging with his knife. Suddenly, the guitar leaps out of Cosmo's hands, lifting his torso by the strap. On its own, the instrument parries the attack, then cuts through the air like a katana, bashing Johnny's head. Dawn winces. Johnny stumbles backward, stunned. Cosmo holds both hands away from his body, staring in disbelief at his guitar, then at Johnny's bleeding forehead.
Damn!
Delante gapes at Johnny, then at Cosmo, not making a move. Johnny touches his fingers to the gash above his eye and sees the blood.
Motherfucker.
Oh my god, Johnny, stop.
You wanna play? Let's play.
Stop it.
Johnny lunges again. Ghost is holding Cosmo's guitar like a slip. As Cosmo stands motionless, Ghost swings the guitar in a sweeping arc. Johnny gets clocked again. He wobbles, dazed, touches his head, feels the pain.
God damn it!
Oh my god, he gonna beat your ass, son. Stop!
Johnny points the knife in Dawn's face.
Did you better shut your fucking trap?
No, fuck you, Johnny. Fuck is wrong with you? Goddamn crazy. Esto loca compro.
As Ghost watches Dawn berate Johnny, Cosmo moves to intervene, approaching from behind.
Hey, take it easy.
Johnny spins hard on Cosmo with the blade. Piercing screech of metal wheels as the train rounds a hard curve into the next station. Cosmo lurches forward into Johnny. The mottled twist on Cosmo's head falls loose. A quarter century of uncut hair cascades down his back as he steps slowly away. Johnny looks at the bloody blade in his hand. Cosmo lifts the base to examine himself. Nothing, aside from a small rip in the left side of his shirt. Cosmo runs his fingertips along the fresh cut in the fabric as Ghost touches the torn threads of his own shirt. Standing face to face for a moment, they appear exactly alike. Then Ghost observes a trickle, Then a gush of blood spreads across Cosmo's chest, spilling from his left armpit.
Oh my god.
Cosmo steadies himself on the hand truck before staggering to his knees. The bass guitar clatters to the ground. Blood runs down his side, pooling around his shin. He keels over. The handcart topples, scattering loose cash across the floor. A dark red puddle collects beneath his torso.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Yo, he's gonna bleed out.
He came up behind me. Y'all saw it. He's the one that hit me. I was the one getting hit, right?
Johnny is wild-eyed as the train settles to a stop on the platform. Delante frantically bangs on the door.
Yo, open this shit! Fuck! Oh my god. I can't believe you, Johnny. You fucking killed the guy, Johnny.
Shut the fuck up!
Johnny socks Don, who crumples to the ground. The train doors open. Johnny and Delante book. Don, dazed, nose bloody, crawls over to check on Cosmo.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
His long gray peppered mane splayed on the ground around his head like a crown. Cosmo struggles to stay conscious. His left side is soaked in blood. A dark slick spreading across the floor, the viscous red meniscus slowly consuming spilt cash. Cosmo's head dips to the side as his eyes find focus. Ghost is staring at him from the corner of the train. Cosmo is horrified.
Mister, just hold on. I'm so sorry. Somebody help, please. Somebody help.
Sounds of the station have melded into a vague hum. Dawn's voice has become faint, as if from a distance. Cosmo looks up to see Vive's ghost, hair billowing like an aura, kneeling beside him. A tear tracks to his ear as he smiles.
Eve. I'm here, Mama.
Eve's ghost gently strokes his cheek as he draws his final breath.
This is the place.
His pupils dilate as life drains from his body. Numinous light wafts like mist around the train car as sand collects in pockets around the corpse. Eve's ghost takes Ghost's hand. They walk away together into the light.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys like this is like the first time I've seen like this thing in one strung together like thing. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here. This is like really was a big deal for me. I know it looks like a kind of ramshackle operation, but this was like a big fucking deal for me, and I love all of you guys. I really love all of you guys. Thank you so much. And so, so just thoughts, like honestly, like, I've never done this before, so I think, what do you do after this? Like, I want to hear what you guys thought. Like, I want to hear what worked, what didn't work, what was exciting, what was slow, like, talk to me. How did you, what did you think, Stacey?
All at once?
This is a Reddit AMA.
I don't know where to begin. All right, so I loved a lot of the music. Some of the music, some of the sequences could be kind of a bit like with, I loved sorry if I'm rambling, when he's dressed up in the different disguises as they're going on a date. That was great.
Without you, right?
Yeah,
That's my favorite.
kind of just like slightly shorter, and it'll be even more funny during that sequence. I love the story between him and Eve and the tragedy of that. It's great. I have more, but it's not like fully fleshed out, so bear with me later.
I just want to hear like how it hits people. I love hearing all of it.
One last point. There was a song that during their last goodbye, the last kiss, the song that followed right after, it sounded like you were howling.
Oh.
Baby, it was always you.
Oh,
that
right.
Really stuck out to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I liked it.
You know what? That I mean, I'm also thinking with the music, like how would you guys want to like if you guys could imagine this as like anything, what would you want to see it as? Would it be a movie? Would it be on stage? Would it be just audio? Like what?
This is old school, but I mean, my eyes were closed the whole time, and I was thinking I had two ideas. I could either see it as an animation or like a radio play.
Sure.
Which I thought would be really cool, because it would sound basically just like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was like, I wonder if the Moth Radio Hour or NPR would dig something like this, or
like this is already like this is basically is a
it's
radio.
it. It is. Yeah, it's a radio play.
Yeah. I've thought of that. I also want I wonder because I would love to perform these songs like with an actual band, you know, and how to work that into a stage production with the actors and you know, stuff like that. I'm just wrapping my head around it. I really want to hear. I really wish I could just go in you guys' heads. Just see. But do you guys have any questions for me? Or?
The way that I saw it as a play, and I saw you up above where you come and sing, the light comes on, and the audience's gaze goes up to you, gets your emotion because you're looking at your life, and then the lights go down, the lights come up on stage, and the next scene comes up.
Right.
That's how I saw it.
Sure. And I mean, obviously, I wrote this. It's a personal piece. It's actually it's all completely fictional. But I you know, it's a personal piece, and I kind of wrote it for, you know, myself because Asian male actors, you know, tend to get boring roles. You know, so I wrote the shit, but I don't know how to wrap my head around being Cosmo and playing Ghost and play Ghost, for instance.
I would say you should probably cast somebody as Cosmo. And you would be the Ghost playing the whole way through. That way you don't have to worry about both lines, and you could just focus on the music while having an actor be you.
Yeah.
Right.
You just have to wear the same thing at the very beginning and the end just to make it make sense.
Right. That'd be really cool.
My only other note is that I like the original version of Here With You that we did.
Y'all don't even Here With You actually is a song that just happened. It was the freaking blizzard night. It was freaking blizzard night of all nights in the year. I was like, because I missed him the week before, and my kid was out of my house that weekend, so I was like, okay, I'm going. So I was like, okay, it can't be that bad. It was fucking just got out there and then totally got stuck in that was great blizzard. But I hung out at Josemar's place, and we hung out till 4 in the morning or some shit. 6 in the morning, I'm not gonna lie.
7.
Something like that.
and that song literally just downloaded on me. I just you were sitting there Dennis, play a bass line. I was like, just play the bass line.
Yeah, I was like, let me figure. No, Dennis, I think you got this real quick. I let that ride, and I think we recorded 2-3 songs that night. But the reason why I say that is because the groove was a little bit different. But the original, I can still hear it in my head because
the one that we recorded was that is a pretty it is pretty John D fun group. I like it. I agree with you. Cool. I mean, I have so many millions of questions for you guys, but I can't even wrap my head around it right now. So, did you guys fill out the sheet and put your emails in?
Yes, I wrote you a lot of stuff.
Thank y'all so much. You guys are so awesome, and so awesome for being here and coming here and hanging out and reading and being this thing. My cup runneth over today.
So, is this the correct order? Or did you change the order for tonight?
Of the scenes?
Read, yeah.
Yes. That's the order that it goes in. Although I just re-edited the whole thing I changed a couple of things actually on the fly for this edit, mainly to work here with you into the story. So I kind of like, that's why Here With You, it was kind of like, I was like, what are we going to do with Here With You? I just kind of made it like that was where it's like time rewinds and they kind of like were remembering the good days and then come back to the picture and he's standing there in the dust world holding the picture, you know. I also feel like, visually, I don't know how hard it was to follow words-wise what's going on visual. It's kind of, it doesn't really, it's not.
It's hard to have
It's different.
the narration and then also the song in the background because it's hard. You have to balance out the narrators a little bit louder than the background music and the music, but it's back there. You can still hear it, but the main point is hearing the narrator through it, so you can hear it.
Was it difficult to understand Antoine's
A little bit here
words
and there,
with
because you get
music
distracted
sometimes?
with the music in the background because it overpowers him.
Right.
So then it kind of takes away the narration.
It has to be low enough, then it's okay.
Yeah, just okay.
But when it gets a little higher, it's kind of like.
Hard, yeah, distracts.
I got you. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, this is first of hopefully a whole thing that grows from this. I don't know where this goes from here, but I've been living this like it's a fictional story, but I've been living this fucking like making this shit for a long time now. So I just want to and like the songs I didn't write a single song. Not a single song did I intentionally write for DUSTWORLD. Not a single song. They all just kind of happened and then I just kind of strung them together.
I was wondering about that, if you wrote them to tie. What was going on?
Yeah, no, I didn't write a single song for this. I just had songs and, in the end it's not like a coincidence. They're all kind of about the same shit, probably, I mean, so they all probably fit together.
It's love and nothing.
So what's the next step for you with this?
I was hoping to ask you guys. I was hoping you guys would tell me that.
I have one suggestion.
Okay.
I'd say out of the one that you think is the favorite or crowd favorite or overall whatever is the best reception, start with the music video from that and see what visions you have that can line up with DUSTWORLD. Like, it doesn't have to be part one. It doesn't have to be, seating 1 or seating 9. It could be anywhere from like 3 or 8, for example, any of the songs, and just pick a setting that you feel like is very strong, very easy to shoot, and casting and
I like slow
direction.
dancing would be a good song.
Right, like
So,
stuff like that.
Cool.
That can really just give you a vision to work with everything else. So you don't like change the feelings or settings because the narration for all the songs are almost, straightforward. They're very straightforward. You really can't deviate too much from that. Just the visuals is probably what you should work with. This is something we also spoke about, but like have fun with something that you know for a fact is already in your head and just make sure the production's already shot. Because then you don't have to worry about, if this doesn't work or not, you already have everything set out. Casting, that would be easy. It's just, what do you envision it to be for each song? That's a whole different conversation.
If I could recommend one, Shader, it would be great if you could consider an animatic, which is
What's that?
An animatic is when you do, because the first exposure I had to this were your drawings on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So an animatic is a series of like drawings that give the sequence of what happens, that has the dialogue spoken, that has the music, because then you can really form the visuals of the story
Like a
and start
storyboard?
moving pieces
Yeah.
around.
Is it basically a
And that's
storyboard?
before, it's an animated storyboard.
Actually, all those little drawings I made, I did string them together into animated storyboards with
I'd
the
love to see
songs
that.
and
We have the answer.
but they're there. But like the thing is, they're strung together into these animated storyboards. I'm not like a pro artist or anything, so I just like did the little scribbly drawings, the kind of dadly cartoony, whatever. And then, but it's I love watching them because I'm just like, wow, that's my story come to some form that I'm actually watching. It's amazing to me. But I think for a normal person, it's like, what is this scratchy shit? it's like
That's what an animatic would answer. It would answer what happens when, what the person sees, on screen, emotions, where they're looking. It's a pretty typical thing for creating movies.
Okay.
And just to piggyback off that, it may be old to you, but new to everybody else in this room.
I mean, sure. I you know, I also really suck at like releasing things, like putting them out there. I love making them. I love showing them, but I don't know how to have people receive it, like be there when I'm showing. I mean, you guys are awesome. This is great, but like, yeah, like I'm just trying to soak it all in and let that grow into something. But
And you can use AI to compose much of this.
You know,
don't have to sit down and run.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with AI. Like when I, cause Bobby, like I don't know if most of you guys probably haven't even like seen. I have an Instagram. Actually, I do have an Instagram, and I was like, I don't use Instagram like the way it's normally meant to be used, like for and I was just using it as just like my own visual storyboard. It was really just for me. And I was just looking at these, and it was like each thing was getting like 2 views, 3 views, 1 heart. I was like, whatever. But like, hey, for me, like looking at the storyboard like that on IG was like honestly kind of gratifying for me. And like with the but you were saying with the AI. So at first I was doing these scratchy ass drawings, right? And then they kind of look pretty hacky. So I then they invented this thing called AI, which was not that fucking long ago. This was like a year ago or something, a year and a half, whatever. And I was like, oh wow, ChatGPT, you get, oh wow, this looks like a real person. She actually looks like a real person. Like, I mean, it's kind of uncanny valley when she got like the weird like 6-finger shit going on. But like other than that, I was like, wow, wow, that's Eve. Eve is her fucking face changes with each frame because it can't like keep any consistency. But after like that was really exciting to me when I first saw it. But then the thing with AI, I don't know about you guys, but like there's something about AI when I first saw it, and probably everybody when I first saw it, I was like, my God, this is crazy! It's so amazing. And then very quickly, it's just like all the interestingness just evaporated off of it. So now it's just like, even if I see something, I'm like, oh, is this interesting? But like the second it registers that this is AI, I just like, my mind just shuts it off.
I would stick with the drawings though. You could feed it the drawings and animate the drawings. I wouldn't try to make it look photorealistic, because that I think, as you said, is starting to become like passé. But if you animated the drawings, I think the drawings had a charm that every time I saw them, I comment on a lot of them, like, oh, this is
yeah, man, cool, I appreciate you.
And I mean that, and I think that is where
okay. Well, this is all soaking in. It's soaking in slowly. Anyway. Dobby, what time we got this room till?
Till 9. 9?
It's 9. So anyway, bless you guys. You guys are awesome.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And awesome.
And the first song, Come and Go, you played that in Naked Angels.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
I did.
I love that song.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I